Time for these guys to get a little upgrade. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. This is Paul Knapp coming to you once again from the Man Cave, and we have a little upgrade. If you've been following my channel at any length, you know I've been working on the Mac Mobile Action Command series from Matchbox, which came out in the early 1970s. And recently I had a friend of mine, Hector Ortiz, who has his Etsy channel as well as a eBay channel, and he made me some upgrades for my vehicles here. So I've just received that package, and I'm going to show you what he sent so we can work and finish this project. Stay tuned. Okay, so let's first start off with the fire engine. Again, I cleaned all these vehicles. I put a new decal with the fire engine. I ended up putting it here, and you'll see why later. But the parts that I wanted Hector to replace were the nozzle here, the top nozzle piece, and then also there's a little yellow nozzle here at the end of the hose, which wraps around this. So you have two different hoses essentially. This one here, which just attaches to the truck, and then the separate hose and nozzle, which wind around this. This is usually always missing, and these ones are usually always broke. So Hector solution. This looks awesome. I mean, that's almost exact size. Maybe a little bigger, beefier, but I don't mind that. Actually, I'd rather it be that, so it doesn't get broke very easy. And as far as the nozzle is concerned, that's almost a dead-on ringer, okay? And you even put the extra little plug in there so you can plug your hose in. I'm having a heck of a time finding this size hose, though, I'll tell you what. I might have to go with some wires or something similar, because I'm not sure what size that is, but it is small, and the ones that I've been ordering are still not small enough. So, but first up from Hector, we have the two replacement hoses and nozzles, I guess you could say, for the fire truck. So next up we have the snowplow, which is probably my favorite vehicle of these small vehicles. It's always missing three items. One is the searchlight, which should go in here. Two are the set of skis, which should hook in underneath here and lay on top. And then finally there's always a stretcher, an orange stretcher that should be inside here. So first up, here's Hector's replacement for the searchlight. And again, I've showed this before. Hector had made these for my other vehicle, so he sent me a few more for my newest ones, and that'll plug in right there. So I'm just going to trim a little of the plastic off there, and that'll fit. Next up, I asked him, is it possible to come up with skis? Now, I know just by looking at the pictures, it's very hard, so I gave him the measurements of the skis that should slide underneath here. They do have these little plugs which hold them in place. I wasn't worried about that because I'm probably going to cut this off and lay the skis in that he made me, but check this out. He measured that and came up with these skis. He made orange ones for me as well as yellow, and they are a perfect fit. If you can see this, such a tight squeeze to get in there, but they work. And yeah, like right now, obviously you got to cut off that little piece of plastic, but I'm going to glue them in anyhow. And from the pictures, looks like the skis went to the front of the vehicle, which these do. So once I cut that little piece off of this, I'm just going to lay those down and glue them in place. But man, for just going from a picture and measuring that, I think he did an awesome job. Again, I'm not going to be using these. It's just for display, so I have no problem cutting that little piece of plastic off for the original ones and laying them in there. But if you're looking for skis, I think Hector's onto something here. Now the last item that I wanted him to make me was the stretcher. And I did have an original one of these, so I sent this to him. But I did ask him, I was like, you know, this is a good fit, but you do have a lot of extra space. And when it comes to the larger figures, like this is one of the original small ones, he's even a tight fit for this, if you can see. But when it comes to the larger figures, there's no way he's fitting on there. You can see that right there. So I was asking him, is there any way you can make it just a little bit longer, a little bit beefier? And check this out. He sent me these, and there is a headboard on there as well, so it's a pretty good fit. It's a little not short, but not as wide to fit his shoulders, but if it was any wider, you wouldn't be able to fit it inside the vehicle. This is a perfect fit. Look at that. I mean, you still got room in the back. Slides all the way to the front. And like I said, it's going to fit the larger figures much better than this original smaller one. So very happy about this. Again, if you're looking for some stretchers, I'm sure he could scale it down if you want the original size for the smaller figures, but I really like the larger size. Next up, we have the military recon Jeep, and when you find these in the wild, it's almost always missing the gun on back. Sometimes you can find it with the swivel piece, sometimes you can't, but almost always the gun is missing. So I was able to find an original gun, and I sent it to him, and I said, what's your chances of making something similar to this? Again, it's got to have these two holes in here so it'll fit in the swivel part of the Jeep. And here's Hector's replacement. And man, it's a dead ringer. I'll tell you what. It's got the hole in the right spot. The muzzle and everything on the gun. I would say this is a perfect match. So once again, Hector hit a home run when it comes to replacement gun for the back of the Recon Jeep. Next up, we have the police car. And what is usually always missing from this, two things are. But first off, it's these little plastic lights, I guess. So Hector made replacement ones there. So again, we're just going to trim a little plastic off of there, but it's a pretty good fit. And I'm gluing these new ones in because I'm not taking a chance of losing these anymore. Especially if I'm packing these away. And the other thing that's missing here is a flip-up lid that had a computer on the back. And Mr. Jim Egner, he is in the process of making me one of those. He made me one before, and he sent it on the way. So once that comes in, my police car will be complete. Several of the vehicles, including the helicopter and the rescue medic, they have winches on them with hooks, and usually the hooks are always missing. They did come in different colors, so I asked him if he could make me a hook for, like I said, the helicopter and rescue vehicles. I believe the raft even has one. So there you go. He did that, and they should fit. And the string that I'm using, I'm not using the thin white string anymore. I went with this twine, and I went with the yellow color here, so it's a little bit thicker, but I think it looks nicer, and I will show you that once these are complete. Now finally, I asked Hector if he could make me some decals, some additional decals after I finished cleaning these vehicles I thought of, and he said sure he could, and he sent those to me. Now the reason behind this is, as I was working on cleaning these, I was hesitant on removing this one only because Hector was just making me these stickers for the vehicles, the logo. I wasn't replacing all this. Some of them are dinged up, but I was okay with that. But then I thought to myself, why is it the police car the only one that says police? The fire didn't say fire, the medic didn't say medic, the snowplow didn't say anything, the rescue vehicle did not say anything. So I was like, maybe Hector could come up with some decals for me, at least for some of the rescue vehicles. And he did. Let me show you. So first up, obviously, he went with the police car. So here is the police, as you can see here. And then he also made one for the Recon, which would be the Jeep. And he made them as long as the paper almost. So this way, I can just trim it once I get it centered where I'd like it. And yeah, cut it at any angle, and you actually have extra there. He tried to use the closest font that he could, and it looks pretty darn close, so I'm happy with that. So first up we have the police, and then again, if I decide to put a little Recon on the side of this. Well, he did the Recon ones as well. Next up, we made a decal for the fire engine. Now, there's not a lot of space on this side unless you want to go down low with a sticker. So what I did was took the emblem that was normally here. I took one of the smaller ones and put it in front. And then I asked Hector if he could make a fire on red. And what I'll do is just trim that down, just like the police, and place it on this side. So it'll only be on one side of the vehicle, but I'm okay with that. And there's your fire truck. And finally, I thought this yellow one, same deal here. We put the decal on the front, the logo, and then Hector came up with a yellow rescue sticker. So we're going to put that right along here on both sides, and I think that'll make them look a little nicer. Again, you still have the logo, just moving it to the front. You can see here, this is one with a winch. I'm going to add one of Hector's hooks to that as well. So probably go with a yellow hook on the back of this. And yeah, I am excited to get started on this project. So let me get started on decals and replacement parts and give you a show when I'm done. And once again, I'd like to thank everybody for following along with this project of mine. I know it's not one of my common videos that I would put out on either 1/6 scale or toy soldiers, but it was a line that I collected in the 70s when I was growing up, and maybe you guys collected these as well. Matchbox Mac Mobile Action Command. Again, I'd like to thank Hector Ortiz for coming up with the decals for me and some of the replacement parts. Remember, you guys can find him on Etsy as well as eBay. As always, thanks for watching. Keep on collecting.